Saturday. Normally this is a video that Grandma Sandy hosts, and today we're doing things a little bit different. I wanted to join in today, but I don't really have time for a real garden tour or to edit a video. I'm just trying to keep my garden hydrated in the heat of the summertime, so I decided I would take you along for my morning watering routine. I don't do the same thing every day, but here's just a little taste of what I do for watering. We're going to talk about my fertilizers. And no companies are sponsoring any of the fertilizers or the topics we're talking about. These are all fertilizers I buy with my own money, and I just really enjoy using them. They do good things for the plants. So let's talk about it. The first one we're going to talk about is this seaweed extract. I love seaweed extract so much. It's the first fertilizer I ever used when I started gardening 10 years ago here. I won a gift basket in a grocery store plant contest, and it had actually this exact seaweed in it, seaweed extract. I have many different versions, actually 3 versions of seaweed extract, and they're all seaweed. They're different versions of the same thing, and I love them all. They're not the same. Hello, Allison Pearl Jam. I'm talking about my garden fertilizing this morning and watering the garden. We're going to do it together, and I'm not sponsored by any of these companies. And I love seaweed extract because it's organic. It comes from the ocean, and the plants love it. I use this in my houseplants. I use it in my garden outside, the flowers, the food, the fruit trees. I could use it every day and the plants will never get burned by it. That's one of the nice things about organic fertilizers. For the most part, you won't burn your plants. You can fertilize them to death and they're not going to die. They're going to thrive. So that is super cool. So this particular one is from West Coast. This is Falling Leaf. And I actually didn't buy this. This was at a yard sale that my parents went to. And I don't even know the complete story of how it came to be, but the company was going out of business or something, and they were selling like a whole bunch of these. And my mom knows about my gardening and my organic gardening, and she just happened to pick one up for me. And it was like $1 or $2 or something like that. So I was very excited. It's kind of similar to the other ones made by a different company that apparently isn't in business anymore. And this one has very vague instructions. Hello, Alexander. We're talking about seaweed extract right now. So it has 1% nitrogen, 2% phosphate, and 5% soluble potash. So it just says 15 mils per liter of water, 4 tablespoons per gallon. So I don't really measure things too much when it comes to plants. Maybe I should, but I just like to play it by ear. I have my watering can here. This is oh my gosh, it's heavy. This is my watering can, one of my bigger ones. And this is a 2.5 gallon. It actually does have, well, if you can see it, there are measurements on there for watering. And I just add some. I don't really measure it. I probably should, but I don't usually. So I just dump some into the can. I don't know how much that is, but I don't know, maybe 30 mils, who knows. And then we go in water. I will take you along. Today we're going to water or fertilize, particularly my roses. I'm just looking for the camera button. Okay, there we go. We're going to go see some of the roses this morning. We'll see other things, but starting with the roses. And my containers could use a little fertilizer. We'll look at those too. But the roses are done their first flush of blooms and they're ready for, hello Faye, good morning. The roses are ready for some nice food so they can keep blooming. So I just dump the watering can down for a little while and that's their food. Well, fertilize my fig tree. Greetings Faye in Ontario, Canada. Fellow Canadian. This is my single pink knockout rose. We'll give it some fertilizer. It doesn't have too many flowers yet. This is not the first flush. This is the second or third. And it's time to fertilize. Give them some more food to keep on blooming. These flowers will often bloom until October here, until the first snowfall, sometimes even early November, which is pretty crazy. So we want to keep them going strong. So fertilizer does help with that. And this is one of my fig trees since we're in the area. This is a Desert King fig. And it's doing pretty well. The figs are not ripe yet, but pretty soon the first batch should be. They're not soft yet, but usually when the figs start to turn down and get soft, then you know that they're ripe. But Marshall Rose, no, this is a knockout rose. I don't have any Marshall Roses that I'm aware of. And I think we're going to give the peach tree a little fertilizer this morning and water, starting with the watering can. Does have peaches. They have been falling a little bit, and I think it's from a lack of water. So, just gonna tilt the can over here and give this guy a drink. I also have a zucchini growing under my peach tree and some snapdragons. A little nasturtium is blooming. More snapdragons are about to bloom. And I think we're gonna give this rose some fertilizer. This is my rose called Snow Pavement. It's supposed to be white and it's actually pink. And there's very few thorns on it. It's great for bouquets. So I'm just gonna empty the can and then we'll go and refill it. I do have the hose going right now. I like to really saturate the landscape because it gets so dry. You can see some of the sour cherries. I really need to do a big harvest. There's sour cherries everywhere. Still probably gonna make that cheesecake I was thinking about. Lots of these little sour cherries to harvest. And I've just been saturating the ground because it is so dry. There is mulch here, but it gets really, really dry really fast. So we're just gonna fill this up and then we're gonna try a different fertilizer on the next round to show you some of the other ones I use. Let's see, what should we look at while this is filling up? We have my little memorial for the garden supervisor. Strawberries are pretty lush. They did have some berries. I don't know if they're gonna get more, but they have produced already. It looks like whatever was left kind of dried up. I should probably come and cut those off. My palm trees are putting on a little bit of growth. These are windmill palms. At the back, we have some, we're finished here. So we'll just take that out and go and get some more fertilizer. And maybe move the hose a little bit more somewhere else in this area. We're gonna try one of the other seaweed extracts. So here we have Gia Green, Popular Company. This is 0017 and very different than the liquid seaweed that we just used. So this is the one we used at the beginning of the live stream. And this one is 1% nitrogen, 2% phosphate, and 5% potash, water soluble. This one here, we have a different ratio. We have a 0017. So potash is 17% and the rest of them are 0. So it is a little bit of a different constitution. And it's a different color and texture. This is a powder and we dissolve this in the water. I'll get my watering can. So there is very little odor. I won't say there's no odor because I do smell something, but it is so minor you probably wouldn't smell it unless you're trying to smell it. but it doesn't smell bad. It just is like a really mild, earthy odor, basically. And I like to put in a couple tablespoons usually into my watering can. It's really full right now. I'm probably going to spill water on myself in a minute. Or the table, or my shoes. So we'll just put in a couple spoonfuls. And I think we're gonna water my containers on the patio this morning, give them some fertilizer. I have not fertilized these since I got them. Look at this, I just realized my mushroom has broken. This was in my cactus. I think it's broken. And it was used to prop it up, sort of like a fairy garden figurine, but I think it broke. That's unfortunate. So we're gonna go water my flowering patio containers and hopefully not spill it on too much stuff. Right over here, I got these at Home Depot. No, I didn't make them myself. I just wanted a little more color in this area, and I think they really do a good job for adding some color. Now, I think I need the tripod here. Yeah, containers will do wonders if you fertilize them. We have a container garden in my workplace, and last year the flowers looked like they were ready to be pulled out. And then we just decided, oh, we should fertilize them in the middle of summer. They looked so sad, and they bounced back and looked better than they had ever looked. So definitely fertilize your flowering containers. You can get twice the lifespan out of them if you fertilize. So we'll give them some seaweed extract, these guys. I do deadhead them fairly often. They're not perfectly deadheaded, but keeps the flowers going, and the fertilizer should be the icing on the plant. And I have some tomatoes back here. We're going to fertilize them too. Let's see if I can move the camera a little bit more. And this is a spicy pepper. And yes, it is edible, and no, I don't eat it because I don't like things that are exceptionally spicy. But I thought it was a really nice ornamental plant, and that's why I bought it. I thought the colors of the purple and the red went really well with these vibrant yellows and fuchsias and oranges. And with my rock rose, this is a shrub rock rose, and it is living its best life right now. And it's not being fertilized. It does not like fertilizer, so we're not giving it any food. Good morning, Sandra. We're talking about organic plant food and watering today. So we're gonna go in the back corner and fertilize this container. Just have to move my tripod around. Move it a little further down. I don't actually know the names of all the flowers in here. I will show you a little closer look at the flowers since it is Garden Tour Saturday. I believe the fuchsia ones are petunias? Petunias, yeah. I think these are something called Bidens, I want to say. But these ones at the top, I'm not 100% certain. They remind me of African daisies, but I don't actually know what they are. They could be something else. If you know the name of it, please let me know, because I'm super curious what they're actually called. I love the daisy-like foliage. It's so striking, the colors. But I have yet to identify what they are. They didn't really have tags to tell me all of the plant names, but I've grown these before, starter plants, and I believe they're called Bidens, and then traditional petunias, but who knows what these guys are at the top. So we're gonna go and check out some of the other containers. They're all kind of the same in a different arrangement, and give them some fertilizer too. Now I'm trying to do this one-handed as I hold the camera. I might have to move it a little bit. see if I use the tripod in a different fashion here. Since the tripod, this is a patio chair, so I don't know if that's gonna work. Okay. And then we have one more container in this corner. Right down there. I don't know if you can actually see it. It's way over here. Okay. So we should go and fertilize my vegetables. That is next on the agenda. Gonna add some more water to the can and possibly more fertilizer. And then we're gonna go up to the vegetable garden where the containers are and we're gonna fertilize those guys. I'll show you my raspberries while we're waiting for the container to fill up. I've been eating from these multiple times a day, and I could just come and harvest them, and some of them do dry up, but I just like to come out here and eat. It's kind of fun to just pick and eat and just do that around the garden. I think it is, I have a hose overflowing watering can situation. I went a little overboard on the water. So we're gonna add a different seaweed extract to the can. We're gonna talk about the seaweed extract that got me started on fertilizing all the plants in the garden and on fertilizers. So, putting the tripod back together here and bring it up. There we go. So this was the very first fertilizer that I ever used 10 years ago when I was fertilizing my garden. Not this exact container, but I've bought this so many times. It's from a local company, Reindeer's Plant Foods, Vancouver Island. They're located in the Cowichan Valley, and I won this in a Country Grocer gardening contest. If you're familiar with Country Grocer, it's a local grocery store. And it was a gift basket full of gardening goodies. And this is an organic seaweed extract, similar to the other two I showed you. Gia Green makes it. The company that went out of business makes it. And they're all a little bit different, but they're all made with seaweed, which is completely organic from the ocean. This is a 2% nitrogen. I think it says 12% phosphoric acid. The writing is wearing off, so I'm trying to read it. 16% water-soluble potash, and I think it's 55% organic matter. That's a lot of organic matter. And if we look at it, this one is even more beautiful than Gia Green's seaweed extract. I like to call this black gold. It is so beautiful. Right here, well, this one has a little bit of clumps, but it's so powdery. It reminds me of a dark black coffee. And it smells so good. Like, if you want to think of a seaweed smelling kind of like the ocean, you might get a little bit, like 1% of the essence of ocean, but it's like refreshing almost, the smell of this fertilizer. Doesn't smell bad, and the plants love it so much. So we're gonna add to my watering can, and if you're just joining in, welcome. This watering can has a measurement on it. It is, if I can show you, I believe it's 3 gallons. And no, I don't follow the instructions. I rarely follow instructions for most things. So we're just gonna add a couple spoonfuls to the water that is coming out the top and go and do the vegetables. Okay. This is gonna be a little bit heavy, but up the slope we go. taking a little shortcut here. And this is the container garden. This is the cucumber that I have that's doing the best compared to all my other cucumbers. So we're gonna give it a little. I can't do it with two hands. I guess I got disconnected. Thank you, YouTube. But it looks like it reconnected again. This is my milk jug cucumber, one of the only ones that survived. It did get a bit of powdery mildew, but it's recovered really well. And it's finally starting to bloom, so that's exciting. Giving it a little bit of fertilizer. And some lettuce that I should have picked a long time ago with a tomato. And then we have most of the tomato army over here. Just starting to get tomatoes now in mid-July. They definitely need a little bit of food to keep them going. These are bell peppers. They haven't flowered yet, so who knows if they'll work out. That's the biggest one, and no flowers. And then these tiny little tomatoes are so adorable. And we'll go in and give these guys a wee bit of fertilizer. This is another bell pepper plant. And beside it we have a squash, and I can't remember, it says butternut, so it's probably a butternut squash. And there's a few tomatoes here of different varieties. Just show you guys some of my apple action. They are so prolific, kind of crazy. I have been thinning them and eating them already, but I clearly haven't thinned enough when there are this many apples out here. And same with the other tree. I have been thinning these still almost daily, and there's still too many. I really need to give them a big thinning, but I might just let them grow small. It's hard to say. We'll take a quick look at the raspberries on the way down. I do need to come and take off some of these dried up ones, but I come out here and eat from them pretty much every day and also give them a pruning. But they are delicious, plump raspberries. And I never planted them. They came from the neighbors. Many years ago, the neighbors have a bush on the other side of the fence. And they kept shooting up here. I tried to get rid of them, couldn't get rid of them, and then I let them grow. I'm so glad that I did, because they're better than the ones I have in my vegetable garden. Sometimes if a plant plants itself, it's good to let it grow. Well, I think I have shown you guys enough of my fertilizer for the morning, so thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon. I hope you're getting into your gardens and into nature, and have a lovely day, evening, or night wherever you are. Bye-bye. Just had to show you the hummingbird before I closed the stream. It just hovered right by my head.